All right, Brendan Taylor here, Tru School Sports. I'm with the one and only Rick Glaser. He's back. Good to see you, Rick.
Good. You normally say legendary Rick Glaser. You didn't say that tonight. Jesus, I'm
Oh
slipping.
man. Well, the one and only. Okay, the legendary. I'll be. Let me show some respect. Uh,
Okay, there you go.
I'll call you the infamous man because yeah, I don't know. I saw your tweet earlier. I wanted to kind of just get this out the way because I know people are going to ask about it a million times
Mhm.
when they come in here. But you had a tweet today. And I'm gonna put it on the screen. All right. Um, rest. In,
Yeah.
I know you don't feel this way, but rest in peace to Cameron Duncan. You were speaking about Cameron Duncan. You pretty much said that he's been in ill health for years, and then you said good riddance. The lies have officially stopped, and this caused a whole firestorm. I actually got a couple of text messages about it today from people that knew you were coming on. So, like,
hmm
what do you got to say about that? The whole Kevin Duncan thing.
I have no regrets of writing the truth. I'm a very straightforward guy. I always tell the truth, and if people can't deal with the truth, then so be it. They said, "Well, people say, well, he's dead. You shouldn't talk about the dead. Why? Because the guy's dead. All of a sudden, he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
Doesn't work like that. You are what you are, and whether you're dead or alive. Now, the guy may not be able to talk, but he knew how I felt about it. It's not like I'm talking behind his back because
yeah.
he knew exactly how I felt about him. He's a
My,
he's a piece of garbage. He's deceitful. He's deceptive, deceitful. I mean, just an absolute barnacle as
my,
a
my,
human being.
I got you. My question would be is like, what like dealings did you have with Cameron Duncan that caused all these
Well, I was
feelings?
I had two dealings with him, and they both went horrible, and he screwed me on both deals. And he was with Top Rank at the time. He had a
Mm,
fighter named Mac McClin, and we were
okay.
supposed to be partners on him. And he asked me, he said, "Listen, we can be partners on this guy, 15% a piece. You come up with $2,000 for the equipment for the kid." Now remember, this is about 1997.
Yeah.
$2,000 is like 6,000 today. So I came up with the 2,000 for the equipment. The kid won his second fight, and he looked real good. He was 2-0. And I called up Mac. How you doing, Mac? Oh man, and I was waiting for the contract from Cameron to sign it off on it and everything. I hadn't got it yet. I called up Mac. Oh, Rick, that Texas drawl. He was from Abilene, I don't know, some city in Texas, some town in Texas. I said, Rick, how you doing? But I'm not supposed to talk to you no more. I said, why? He said, well, you were supposed to send me 2,500. Cameron said, and you didn't send it, so you're out of the deal. I
Wow.
didn't know anything about 2,500. I mean, it's just another scam, but Cameron. And then Bruce Trampler, because he was associated with Top Rank at the time, even though that particular fighter wasn't. He said to me, yeah, and he patched it up. He says, Cameron, stop lying, blah blah blah. So he couldn't sign Kelly Pavlik. He was trying, well,
Mhm.
coming out of the amateurs. He says, listen, if you call Kelly Pavlik and you work on him, if you got to go to Youngstown, because I live in Buffalo, it's only 3 hours from, about 3.5 hours away, right? Youngstown.
Yeah.
So he says to me, if we sign him up, I'll give you 2%. I says, no problem for as long as I have him. I said, you got it. Well, of course, I steered him to Cameron, signed him up. Kelly Pavlik went off and made 12.5 million, which would have been 250,000 for me. I never saw a dime. He never called me again. As soon as I told him we got the guy, he signed him up and never heard from him again.
Okay. So it was just a matter of from your perspective, like not keeping his word.
There's no perspective. He's a fuckster.
Like.
He was a fuckster. The only reason why he's not a fuckster tonight because he's dead. He'd
uh,
still be a fuckster.
I got you, Rick. But you know what? I like we're not God, man. Like we can't play judge, jury, executioner. You don't believe in like you reap as you sow.
I don't give a shit.
Oh, okay.
You
All right.
know,
All right. As long
I'm
as
a,
it's out there,
I'm a,
because I just wanted to
to
dead it
be
in
in
the water.
boxing, to be successful, part of you got to be cold and callous, and I'm all that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I kind of already knew that from just people in boxing.
Yeah.
So thanks,
Oh, thank you.
thanks, thanks for clearing it up. You haven't been really cool with me. I mean, we never had any problems, but I know.
And just like Stacy and I had never had a problem, Don King and I have never had a problem, and most people that do business with me don't have a problem. But I'm not going to get. I'm not going to sit here and get fucked and not tell people about it. If you want to fuck me, I play nice with people, and if they're going to fuck me, okay, then you're going to get it back, publicly, privately, whatever. With a bat, I don't give a shit.
I got you.
So,
all right, well, like Stacy, like I mean, I'm cool with Stacy, but I'm saying Stacy, Don King, and even people like you, like you, a lot of people don't like you guys. So they would say, like, of course, Rick doesn't have a problem with those guys because those guys are not the best people in the world. What would you say to those people?
What's wrong with Stacy? What's wrong with Stacy?
I like Stacy. I like Stacy. Stacy's my guy.
Everybody likes. I don't know who says that. Everybody I know likes Stacy, and I've never heard anybody say a bad word about Stacy.
Well, just I guess maybe some fighters he's had in the past, like that suit him and whatnot.
No, I don't know. That's to do with Don King, not really to do with him. But it's all right. No big deal.
I got you. All right. Last thing I'll ask you before we get into the boxing, because I did say I would ask this. When I was at the WBA convention in Orlando, I wound up running into your good friend Rachel Donaire.
Oh yeah, that beauty queen. What about her?
Yeah, I actually suggested to her, and I wanted to run it by you, like maybe not now, but like when we're all in Vegas, maybe we could do like a sit down interview and
there's no sit down. No.
I think I'm the only person.
There's no sit. Listen.
No.
She doesn't come to grips about what she is. Okay, she's the wife of a fighter who she manages a fighter. Tell me how many other fighters she's ever managed. 0. She admitted it. She's not a fight manager.
I got you.
She managed. If her husband if that wasn't her husband, if she wasn't the wife, she wouldn't be the manager. She's got to stop her trainer or something, say she's a fight manager. Richard Schaefer did all the heavy lifting in that deal. Okay? That he was the promoter. Okay? Please stop. There's no way. Okay, there's no way in life that man would have hired her if they weren't married or lovers or boyfriend and girlfriend. If they were totally not lovers, and she was just another person, he would have never hired her. She's got to stop.
I got
know what you are. One of the things. Know what you are.
No, 100%. But I picked her brain at the convention. She seemed to at least know. She knew about the boxing business a little bit. So you don't think maybe there could be a good dialogue if I was the mediated? Like, you don't think we can set that up?
There's nothing to mediate. There's nothing. I'm not dealing with people like that. Okay. Everybody knows she's not in the fight business. She worked with a fighter, her husband. Okay. Tell me who else. I told her, name the other fighters that you manage. Yeah. She doesn't manage another fighter. Come on, please stop already.
Okay. Well,
now that he's retired, she's retired.
Yeah. Well, I do know. I mean, I know some fighters that she's like helped because we spoke about it, but
she's helped them, but she's not the manager, advisor. She doesn't have a contract with them. She's not in the fight business. She's got to calm herself down a little bit.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to ask because I did tell her I would ask.
Let me ask you a question. You're a smart guy. Nobody's ever accused you of stupidity. Is my definition correct, or am I wrong?
Of her being a fight manager?
Well, yeah. In other words,
she managed. I mean, you only got to manage one fighter to be a fight manager. She managed.
But the point is, she would not be the manager if it wasn't her husband. The guy wouldn't have called her up if they weren't lovers of some type, boyfriend, girlfriend, a living mate, or husband and wife. Hi, I want you to manage me. I'm Nodito Donaire. Get the fuck out of here.
I get your point, but you only got to manage one fighter to be a fight manager.
It doesn't matter. She's not a fight. That's not a fight manager. You manage a fighter. You're not in the boxing business. You manage a fighter. Okay. Now she doesn't manage any fighter because he's retired. So is she a fight manager today? No, because she doesn't manage anybody. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, I just wanted to ask that question and get it on record because I did tell her I would ask that. But
Oh,
nonetheless,
there's so many people. There's so many people that want to put on us, her and I, and the what do you call? She
yeah.
came
But the
on
thing
one
is,
show I was on.
yeah. But the thing is,
She's,
I think like I don't like I'm the only one who does because most people that want to put you guys on the show together, they either don't like you or like her or don't like you. I don't got a problem with either of you guys. So I feel like it would have been great if I did it, but that's just me.
oh, that's
But
good. That's
nonetheless.
good.
We'll switch gears, Rick. We got an action-packed show. First thing, before we get into the boxing as well, I wanted to wish you happy 33 years of boxing. I know yesterday was your 33rd anniversary, correct?
Yeah, it was the day. Actually, I say that really wrong. It was the day I decided to go into boxing full time that made that decision, and I wasn't within boxing in the full time like about 6 weeks later. So it actually started in February, but I made that decision and I aimed for that on January 1st, 1991, and I've been
Okay.
in it 33 years, and it's been a great ride, and you know, so no zero complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a storied career, man. We got Daniel Rubin in the building. He says the legendary, you know, and he says Rick is the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
I wouldn't get too carried away,
Yeah.
Daniel, but thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know,
Pitbull Boxing says Rick is correct. She only manages one fighter. Rick is actually in the business. There's a big difference.
thank you.
And then he
Whoever
says, yeah,
Pitbull boxer is, thank you.
she says she isn't a real manager. She only has her job because her husband is a fighter.
That's see, that's the guy. That's what everybody says. She's got to stop. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
You know,
I got you.
let me run this by you. Let me run this by you.
Run it by me, Rick.
Wait, time out, time
Run
out,
whatever you
time
want.
out.
Run whatever you want.
I was years ago. I was in a restaurant. Okay,
Okay.
the owner was cooking up something. I was in the kitchen talking to him. This is 35 years ago. I was booking sports at the time, and he was a
Mhm.
customer, and he had a phone call, and he turns to me, he says, "Listen, the truck is delivering some food." He says, "Will you stir this thing here?" I says, "I don't know what I'm doing. So don't worry about it." Does that make me a cook?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now,
Is that your
right?
wife in the back? Is that your wife in the background
Yeah,
laughing?
my
Oh man.
wife's laughing.
You
Yes.
know.
I just want to let you know, my wife is the greatest wife I've ever had in my entire life. I think
Is
she'll
she
be the only one.
is she the only
She's the greatest.
Nah, I got you. I got you. So
One of a kind.
yeah, your wife after all these years interviewing you, man, your wife is almost as famous as you are because you talk about her so glowingly.
Well, listen, my wife is the consequential perfect person. If I I'm telling you, I've never met a woman like my wife in the sense that she's wonderful. She really is. She knows how to push my buttons. She knows how to get me pissed off. She knows how to smooth things over quick. She's good. I mean, she's the champ.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Glaser.
Thank you,
Definitely has a lot on her plate putting up with you, Rick.
Sonia. Her first name
Sonya,
is Sonia.
Sonya. Shout out to Sonya, the lovely
Yep.
Sonya. But
Yep.
Rick, let's jump into it, man. You reported some big news just after Christmas about Top Rank being sold to Endeavor, and apparently Tom Loeffler is gonna get involved. So could you talk more about that? Like just break that whole
Well,
deal down.
what I've got from various sources. They've made a deal. It's in the due diligence stage, and I didn't say Tom Loeffler is going to be involved. I said to look for Tom Loeffler to be
Okay.
involved
Okay.
because he's real tight with Dana White, and I assume Dana White's going to be involved if Endeavor's buying it. That may not be 100% accurate because that I don't know. I don't know who the players are. But Endeavor's buying Top Rank, from what I understand. Everybody's denied it. But you got to remember something on this denial thing. They have to deny it because they have what they call a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, and you cannot divulge anything. If you say, yeah, we are buying it, then you've broken the NDA. You get sued by the other party. So they're not going to say, oh, yeah, we're buying it. He's right. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So just to let you, when you buy and sell anything on a corporate level, there's always an NDA. It's
Of
it's like
course.
it's just it's part of the steam. You know what I mean? That's just what it is.
Okay. Is there any timetable on how long that whole sale could take?
No, those things take 3-4 months normally, and especially with contracts with ESPN, contracts with Sky TV. They have contracts with networks all over the world, and that, and also the one you call it rights, the library rights, because they have the film library that goes back to 1966. So they got a lot of content to sell, and there's a lot of content to look over because of that, in the form of the legalities of the legal contracts and the financials, both.
Okay. Okay. Um, do you think boxing going to Endeavor, or Top Rank going to Endeavor, would be do you think it'd be a positive for boxing, or what's your take
I
on that?
don't know. It depends. It depends on what they're going to do. In other words, if Dana's going to come in and run it every day, which I doubt. I don't know. He only pays 18% out of the total income on the MMA shows, the UFC, those UFC shows. So I don't know, but that's not going to cut it in boxing. All these fighters are armed with attorneys. They get millions per fight. And Dana's not used to paying out that kind of money to athletes, so I don't know. It depends. It really, really, really depends. I can't. I think with the marketing push and all those PR people that they have, and they get PR people behind it, I think that it would be better. Yes, but I don't know from a fighter standpoint if it'll be better or not.
Okay. You mentioned the NDAs and the non-disclosure agreements, but I
But
did
that's what it is.
I did see that Dana White, though, like he's pretty much saying no. All the reports, he says, your reports are not accurate. It's bullshit, pretty much.
He can say that, but I don't even know if he's involved. Maybe Endeavor is just negotiating without him because Bob hates Dana supposedly, and Dana hates Bob.
Yeah,
So that may not be the best thing either. So maybe Endeavor's buying it, and then they'll bring Dana in later on. Who knows? I don't know that.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
There's a
know. All
from
I
the
know is that I was told from two attorneys that they're in the stages of due diligence, which means already they have a contract, and it's just a matter of, does everything check out now?
Yeah, from the way it sounds, it just sounds like there's a ton of moving pieces. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. These deals always have a ton of moving pieces. When you're talking
yeah,
about millions of dollars, you're talking about a film library that dates to 1966.
a lot of
You're talking
rights
about
and stuff like that.
you're talking about an owner that's 92 and his stepson is 55, approximately 53, 5, 6, 7. So of course, there's a lot of moving pieces. Of
Of course.
course.
We had a question for you, Rick. Pitbull Boxing asks, what could Endeavor and Dana do different in relation to how Top Rank is run now? And would it be smart to focus on expanding globally more?
Um, they're already big globally now. Boxing's different than MMA. But it's a completely different sport, and people don't get that. Where boxing, the fighters just make so much more, and you can't just put on a show and expect to make money like you do MMA, because you're only paying the fighters out 18% based on that the antitrust lawsuit, that they're only paying out 18% to the fighters, where boxing pays out basically 80 about 82, 83%. So it's
Yeah.
a completely different financial dynamics. So it's a little harder to make money on boxing on an event than it would be MMA.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Fair enough. Good information there, Rick. One of the viewers messaged me this question to ask you earlier in the day today. My friend Hyro, he said, he wanted me to ask you, Rick, do you think we could see HBO boxing on Max, since it is now owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, which are streaming live sports? They also own TNT Sports.
We could see it. We could see the fights from England on a Saturday here being beamed over, but I don't see HBO going in the box. In other words, like what Peacock is doing. What Sky and Peacock is owned by Comcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're taking the fights from England on Sky and they're beaming them over here on Peacock on the streaming. Well, that could happen definitely with HBO on Max. There's not a question about that. It could happen. Not saying when I say not a question, it's going to happen. I'm saying not a question. It could happen, but they're not going to. They're not the boxing traditionally that was on HBO on Saturday night. That was multi-million-dollar fights with production costing 500,000-600,000 back then. That ain't ever happening again. You can forget that.
That was
Could they beam those fights over? Yes, they could. But they're going to be fights based in England. They might be fights based in Saudi Arabia. Something that who knows where they're going to be based, but they won't originate from the United States. That's for sure.
Okay. And then I guess the last question I'd ask about, I guess from the TV programming side of things, we had the recent news of PBC on Amazon Prime now that they had a whole deal. I've seen a couple of your tweets about it. Do you think they'll get like a second network involved with PBC? Because now
I don't. You're asking me if it's an exclusive. You'd be asking me if it's an exclusive deal. I don't know that. Mm-hmm. Would they go to a second network on a feeder? I don't know. I really don't know. It's just they're out of money. They're out of big money to run the operation. Amazon's not coming up with any money. And let's see if Spence and Crawford actually happens. Where's the money coming from? You know what I'm saying? I mean, where are these big fights? Where's the money coming from? I mean, they're going to depend on pay-per-view and the gate, and I don't think it's there. Amazon is going to be a platform, distribution point, and a marketing thing. They're not coming up with any money. They have no risk at all. Supposedly, even Heyman's paying for the production, which I believe is correct.
Okay.
So it's not. It's he took this deal on because he was desperate to stay in business, and also because of the fact that he felt that with the hook of Amazon being such a big name, he could come up with a big investor, like a White Reed or some big individual, and it's so far fallen on deaf ears.
Yeah, so like he's trying to get like another. You think he's trying to get like another hedge fund situation, like with
somebody. And I'm not saying it would be a hedge fund because they all know each other and they're all smart enough to check him out. I don't know if anybody, even individual, come up. His name is Mud. I mean, his reputation is Mud. I mean, he's gone through 11 networks in 8 years. It's not too good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
but Rick, we had the fight in Japan recently with the Inoue and Tapalis. What did you make of the Monster's performance in that fight? And is he your pound number one right now? Because there's a lot of debate about that in boxing.
Crawford still is, and I'll explain why in a moment.
Okay.
But I think the guy's a great fighter, all-time great, 15, 18, 22 pounder, no question about it. Just a great fighter. I mean, he's blowing guys out of there like Wilfredo Gomez blew guys out of there back when he was a 22-pound champ back in the 70s. I mean, just blowing guys right out. The reason why I have Crawford number one is you can't blame the fighter for only fighting once a year under the circumstances of the current market conditions. Depends on who your promoter is. It depends how popular you are. And he carries the whole country. Okay. Crawford can carry Omaha, but the other guys won't fight in Omaha. So it's not a fair comparison. But as a fighter, the biggest win of the year by any fighter was Crawford blowing out Spence and doing it dramatically, and dynamically, may I add. Okay, and he changed he took a whole subculture of fans and fucked them up mentally, where they're not even going. A lot of them owe thousands on the internet to people. They stiff people on bets. A lot of them dropped their YouTube channels. A lot of them, they were in hiding for 3 months.
He put people out of business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, basically. And I just think that was so big. And I want to tell you what also he did. And I want you to think about this. Wilder gets wiped out twice by Fury, lost the first fight, but they called it a draw. But you wiped out in the last two, face planted. Fulton goes over there, gets destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Tapales is a PBC fighter, okay, not a Heyman fighter, but a PBC. Heyman
Sean
didn't have
Gibbons.
yeah, Sean Gibbons, right. That's a situation where another one. And now Spence gets wiped out. They're all getting wiped out. Charlo bitches up against Canelo, didn't even go for it, never tried. This was the final straw that made PBC minor league boxing. It just did. There's nothing major league about PBC. It's minor league shit, and they prove it every time their fighters step up and they fight a top ranked fighter. Bob Arum is now four. I'm sorry. Al Haim is now 4 wins and 23 losses against Bob Arum fighters. I mean, the list goes on and on.
You keep you had that stat. Like, I'm still waiting for that list, man. I want to see that list of all the fighters.
Top
Who has
rank's
that
got
list?
the list. Top rank.
Could I get it from like a Brad Goodman or something like that? Like, do you know
Brad or Evan Korn or Brad?
Okay.
One of them guys got it.
Perfect.
Okay,
I'm
but
gonna contact one of them for that list.
Yeah, try Evan first about that. It's true. It started with Gary Russell versus
Lomachenko.
Yes, that was really when it first started, and that was what 9 years ago now, probably. So it happens all the time. It's basically what's going on.
Okay.
He had won so few fights. Mayweather over Pacquiao was a Heyman fight that won. An 8-rounder, which was Fondora, I believe it was Fondora versus Daniel Lewis, was an 8-rounder. They won on one of the Fury undercards.
Yeah, that was the Fury Wilder.
Yeah, and then what's his name? Frank Sanchez beat Effie Ajaba. Yep. Yeah, and I don't remember what the other one, but there's like 4. It's 4 and 23. Like I said, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that list from Evan. I want to see that list, but
I believe Evan has it. Brad, they somebody over there's got it. So
okay,
fire away.
All right, Hyros asks you, Rick. He says, "What about Golden Boy though? They lose PBC fighters all the time. Hector Garcia versus Roger Gutierrez, Tank versus Ryan.
Which ones now?"
He's saying like, what about Golden Boy versus PBC? Because they had was it Hector Garcia versus was it Roger Gutierrez?
Yeah, they're 50-50.
That's more competitive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we got a question from the boxing scholar, Rick. He wants to know from you. He says, "Why isn't Rick the main guy in boxing since he's so brilliant and predicting pay-per-view numbers before the fight happens?"
What happened? What is he saying?
He said, "Why isn't Rick the main guy in boxing since he's so brilliant in predicting pay-per-view numbers before the fights happen?"
People pay me for my services. I'm happy that they do. Hold on, my wife's calling me. What is it, Dal? Dal? What? I can't see you. It's dark. Hold on.
All right.
I can't see you.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. I mean, everybody pays him for his services. I'm happy for that. I don't have to be the main anything. Pay me. I got 48 clients. I'm happy with that.
Got you. Got you. You're gonna be in Vegas this weekend for the Virgil Ortiz fight. I wanted to pick your first of all. Did you book did you have any part in making the fight happen or maybe getting the opponent?
Yeah. I brought Lawson to Golden Boy back last spring, and he won against a guy, I don't know, 16-0, 16-1. He won a decision, and now parlayed this into this fight here. So I brought him to him, and it's their fighter, but I brokered the deal, And I also brokered a deal for the guy fighting Aaron Barbosa.
Okay, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Because the minute I heard Lawson, first of all, I didn't even know Lawson was still boxing because the last time I heard about Frederick Lawson was when PBC first started, and I think he fought I can't remember who it was he fought, but he fought somebody down here in Hialeah. And so
Mhm.
the minute I heard that point, I'm like, that was fire Rick. So I had to ask that. What do you think about Virgil at 54? Because he's a
Well,
big kid.
I think he couldn't make 47 anymore. He's a huge guy, and he's going to be a huge 54. He's just a big guy. I mean, he'll be 60 in a heartbeat. He's just a big guy. I mean, this guy could go. This guy's so big, he looks like a light heavyweight. I mean, he's
Yeah,
a huge guy. I mean,
yeah,
he's a big, thick guy, big legs, big back, huge neck. Everything's big on the guy.
yeah.
Everything's oversized. So he's going to grow. He's going to be 54, 60, 68. I can see that. That's to me is pretty obvious.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hyro wants to know from you, Rick. Could you help get my South Florida guy Eric Tudor some sparring? He needs some sparring.
Well, they got guys down there. There's guys all over the place down there. They should be able to spar with Eric.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's not a ton of 60 pounders. South Florida's like most people, like most of South Florida is like mostly like we got a lot of featherweights, 30 pounders, 35 pounders, a couple 40s, but not much in the higher weight classes.
Yeah, well, he can. When you're 54, you can spar with 47. You can spar with 60 pounders and 68 pounders. So
Yeah.
he should be all right.
Okay. Okay. I know he's. Yeah, I know him and his brother Sasha. They're both fighting on the Munguia Rider undercard. So
Right,
it
right,
should be
right.
fun. But we got a super chat from Mighty Max Boxing. He says, "Great work, fellas. P.S. I'm not Rick's nephew." I'm not sure what that's about, but was there any confusion about you and Mighty Max Rick being related?
I don't know. He said I was. He said I was. He said he was my nephew. He told people for a while there. I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but whatever. He gets some good comments on Twitter. I enjoy some of his stuff.
Yeah, he's a good young kid, South Florida kid. I wanted to also ask you about Virgil. Go back to Virgil. There's a lot of good fights for him at 54. Like you got Tim Tszyu. I spoke to Peter Khan about maybe Xander Zayas down the road. What do you think about some of those like potential matchups for Virgil?
But yeah, what Zayas is years away from a Virgil Ortiz. I mean, come on,
Yeah, but he's
please.
ranked though.
Listen.
He's ranked right there, number 2 in the WBO. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think Peter Khan's gonna throw
you
him in there
see,
anytime soon. But
you ask if Top Rank would make that fight, and we'll have him call Oscar or Eric and stuff like that. Come on now,
no, I don't think they would. I'm just saying like maybe like 2-3 years
right?
from now.
Yeah, well, by 2-3 years from now, Virgil Ortiz will be 60-pounder, and the other guy will still be at 54. So there's your answer.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think that I don't think that's going to happen. Let's put it that way to you.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got because I talked to Peter Khan about it, and he kept talking about Xander's development. There didn't seem to be a sense of urgency to make that fight happen anytime soon.
No, of course not. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a wipeout right now, and you going down the road. If you talk about 2-3 years, he won't be. Virgil won't be in the weight class anymore. He'll be at 60, if not 68. He's a big guy. I'm telling you, very very big guy.
Yeah, he's an absolute gargoyle, huge kid at the weight. But Steven Rodriguez, one of the local amateur coaches, says Eric has been sparring with the best Andrew Lawson, reigning state a champion of Florida, 156-pound Golden Gloves champion.
There you go. See, thank you, Steven, for that information. Hyro was behind the fucking 8 ball at that one.
Talking about Hyro with the super chat right here. He says Guerrero versus Boots. Is Boots being loyal to Espinoza?
Yeah, I guess he is. I mean, listen, for as much as he paid him at fucking Showtime at $1.3 million for the last fight, he should be on his knees sucking prick, for Christ's sake, for paying him that kind of money.
I know
God!
We started talking about Cameron Duncan, but now with Cameron Duncan, I guess not being, he's not alive no more. What does that mean for Boots? Because I mean, I know they were together at one point.
I don't know. It's held by a corporation, so I don't know if there's going to be a legal fight or not. That I don't know. No idea.
Okay.
Could be a legal fight because if it's name of a corporation and the owner dies, it's still owned by the corporation, and whoever succeeds that in that corporation that's willed to, that's who your new promoter is. So it could be his wife, it could be his brother, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, could be a whole messy situation. Who knows?
Very messy, very ugly.
Yeah, but also, Rick, I know with you being so close to Golden Boy, one thing I found interesting because like you're always, you're on the you're in the business, like you have the inside information, right? And one thing that kind of took me by surprise was that you were surprised that Ryan Garcia out of nowhere is like he's demanding this Devin Haney fight. So what did you make of all that with Ryan Garcia trying to push for that Devin Haney fight?
Well, yeah, listen, I'm a corporate guy. If
Hmm.
if 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 Oscar and Eric Gomez, the president, and Oscar want it, I'm all for it. Well, if they're happy with it, I'm all for it. But if he's just gonna, do what he did before, where they didn't want to do a rehydration clause, and he wanted to fight anyways and stuff like that. I mean, he's not mature enough to make those kind of. He's not business savvy enough to make those decisions. So
Yeah.
he needs to put that in Eric and Oscar's hands. They've been there, done that. Don't forget. Eric's not a Johnny Come Lately. He was around Oscar since he was an amateur, and he was his go-to guy all these years. So he didn't just pop on the scene. 7, 8 years ago. It didn't work like that. 9 years, well, it'd be 10 years ago now. But he was working there as the matchmaker. He knows the business from the ground up. Literally ran the boxing gym for Oscar, and he's blossomed into a fantastic executive.
No, 100%. And look, I was hoping Ryan Garcia actually winds up listening to them because with the whole what happened with the Tank fight, it should have been a lesson for him, but I don't know. I don't know if he's going to learn his lesson about going against the grain with Oscar and Bernard because those guys already walked the road he's trying to walk.
Well, he doesn't let. He's listening to a lawyer who knows nothing about boxing. His advisor, his lawyer there, Lupe Valencia, knows nothing about boxing. Be able to read a contract doesn't mean you know about boxing. Um, these guys are legends. Uh, Oscar's iconic. Okay, Bernard's a legend. They're both in the Hall of Fame. Between the two of them, imagine how many world title fights that they have. I mean,
Man,
they have to have almost, yeah, right, about 45, probably 40, 43, 44, 45 between them. And, Oscar was the biggest draw on pay-per-view. And listen, it's a kind of situation. If he doesn't listen to him and that kind of advice is there, it's disgusting. It would be disgusting. But you know what? Let Ryan be his own guy and make those mistakes. Then he's going to say, "Oh, I should have listened to you guys." Oh,
that happens a lot
that's
with
how that
fighters.
works.
A lot of times, fighters
Of
don't listen to
course.
the people they're supposed to listen to, and then when they get their ass beat or get put in a bad situation, they say, "Oh man, I should have listened when it's too late."
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. What did you make of Ryan versus Duarte?
Well, it was a really good fight till it wasn't anymore. It was just knocked them out. So it was a good fight. It was a very, very good heated fight, and it was back and forth. And Duarte had his moments, and all of a sudden he got caught, and then that was it.
Yeah.
The eraser came out and erased him. So it was a good fight, very good fight.
Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully
Yep.
Ryan starts to listen to Oscar, listen to Derek James because he started doing the whole Philly
Right.
shell, the turtle shell, whatever you want to
Oh
call
my
it.
God.
It
I
was
don't I
bad.
don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know. Please look at abortion for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was not good. I like the fight I want to see. I don't mean like tomorrow, but the fight I like to see this year. Golden Boy make Duarte at a 35, not 40 because he's a 35. I can make 35 still. 30. Him and Williams Zepeda would be a very good fight. Fun fight.
that'd be a really fun fight. Zepeda's
Yeah,
like a
I think
machine.
I think Zepeda's got to get a win this summer and this fall. They should do that fight. That's a great fight. They can both make a lot of money and draw a lot of people in LA or Fantasy Springs to sell out the place. I think it's something, but it's a fight that everybody'd want to see.
Hopefully it can come together. We got one of the Japanese viewers. He says, "Happy New Year! Wishing you a good year ahead." Absolutely. Shout out to you out in Japan. Got a lot of love for the
Well, hold
Japanese.
on. Was he talking about you or me?
I'm gonna say both of us. You know, if you're
Okay.
here, you're part of.
You diplomatic bastard. You. That's good. Good comeback.
You know,
Good comeback.
shaking hands, kissing babies. We'll do that. You know, you learn to be diplomatic in boxing over the years.
That's right.
But Rick, as far as Bam and Sonny, I know that was a fight that we talked up for like well over a year. When you came here and did interviews, it wound up happening. Bam took a guy who has a reputation for being a great defensive fighter and landed like, what was it, like 50 or 60% of his punches?
58% of his power punches. Well, I'll tell you something. I was disappointed in Sonny, not because he lost, but because he didn't fight how Sonny fights. He stood in front of the guy and tried to battle with the guy. It was definitely the wrong game plan. Okay, I mean, as soon as I saw it, I knew it was the wrong game plan, because how you beat a guy who's a heavy-handed guy is you move around. You don't stand right in front of him. And Sonny's game is moving around. Why he chose to stand there toe to toe with this guy, I have no fucking clue. I mean, that was not one of Sonny's better moves.
No, his pride took over, and he fought with his balls instead of his brain, which, you know, made for an entertaining fight. And I mean, I think even in a loss, for the most part, his stock has went up, like in boxing. But he would have given himself a better chance to win.
Well, a lot of people, you got to remember something about people, about fans and people that watch fights. They think because you move around a lot, you got no balls, and you're afraid of the other guy, or you know, just in general, you're afraid to get hit. That's his style, okay? And he proved he wasn't afraid because he stood in there and he had balls. Remember, I mean, the corner stopped it. You know, he couldn't see out of the eye. And the corners said, you know, he said, I can't see, and they stopped it. But he took a fucking hellacious beating. He showed a lot of heart. He was very humble after the fight. He made no excuses.
He didn't go into hiding.
No, oh no, God damn, he didn't go into hiding. You know, Jesus Christ, man. Well, you know, but that face with all the batter and shit on it, he's moving around in Saudi Arabia, England, all over the place.
He's doing interviews. He's just living life like nothing even happened. So yeah, I respect him, and I hope you know, I hope he gets the big fights at 112. I mean, I know that one of the fights he really wants, if this fighter moves up, is maybe him versus Kenshiro Taraji, which I think would be a great fight for boxing.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Sonny needs to get a win and brush himself up, get his shit together again, and you know, maintain his 112-pound weight, because it's not easy for these guys. And that would be definitely a big fight, no question. Mr. Honda is involved. He has a relationship with Eddie Hearn. It would be big. There's no question about it. You know, you probably look at that fight for like maybe next December, that Christmas time they do that fight, that Christmas time, that New Year's time that they do the big fights over there. You know, Sonny will probably come back this summer, get a win, and they'll start negotiating, and then, you know, maybe it happens earlier in the fall. Maybe it happens in October. Who knows? Yeah, but it's a big fight over there. No question about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I know Bam's in prime position to have a great 2024. I think Bam Rodriguez will be one of the front runners for fighter of the year this year, because he'll get the big fights. But what do you think about Bam versus Gaio Estrada? Because that seems to be the fight he's really targeting, because Gaio's done a lot of yapping in the past about his performances or lack thereof. Or what do you think?
What do I think about what?
Bam versus Gaio Estrada.
Oh, Bam's beating him. He's on the back nine. He can barely make the weight.
Is he in the clubhouse, in your opinion? Is he all the way in the clubhouse?
No, he's not in the clubhouse, but he's on the back nine.
Okay. Yeah, because
Bam beats him. Bam's got too much talent. Listen, you could ask Robert Garcia. I tried to buy a piece of Bam when he was an 8-round fighter.
Really?
So I saw the talent in him back then. Yeah, he's a really good fighter. No question.
So when you say buy a piece for the viewers that may not understand that, like, what kind of money were we talking? Like, what
Well,
percentages? Like,
I
how does that
didn't.
work?
We never got. I wanted to buy 10%. We never got that far.
Okay.
You know
There,
what would I have paid for 10%?
yeah, yeah.
Probably 15 at the time. 8-round fighter, probably 15 grand. Probably
Okay.
maybe 20 grand. I would have paid. I saw the potential in the guy.
And how long ago was this? Was this like what?
Whenever he was an 8-round fighter, I don't
Okay.
remember.
Okay.
Okay, when he was still an 8-round fighter.
So you've been on the Bam Rodriguez train
Oh
before the
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. No. But I thought Sonny had the style and the hand speed and the movement of the feet and the high ring IQ, and he just threw all that out the window and went to war with the guy. And that fight he wasn't winning. As soon as I saw it, I said, "What the fuck's this guy doing?" Jesus Christ!
Just fighting,
You know,
fighting with his balls.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of, but not as bad, of course.
Go ahead.
Was when Ray Leonard fought Duran the first time. He stood in the pocket and fucking rolled with Duran, tried to rumble with Duran, when all he did is have to move around like he did the second and third fights. Did the same
Yeah.
thing. You know what I'm saying? Did this exact same thing. So it is
Okay.
what it is. You know, and Michael Nunn did the same thing with James Toney. Look what happened. You
Got
know?
knocked the hell out, and it's right in his hometown.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
James was like a 15-1 thing underdog or something with some crazy odds. He was a huge like underdog. That
It was bigger than that. I think it was like 25-1. Yeah, and he stood in the pocket and rolled, and then all of a sudden he got knocked the fuck out. Look how much it changed boxing history. One guy went to prison, and one guy became an all-time great Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's crazy how one fight can do that for a fighter.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, look at Busty Douglas. Nobody ever heard of him. He quit a whole bunch of times. He knocks out Mike Tyson. He's a fucking legend forever. And he's not a Hall of Famer, but he is a legend.
Gotta mention him when you talk about the '90s. Gotta mention him.
All right, you got to mention Buster.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to. You know, here we are. We're 40 days into the first of the year, and you know, boom, into the 90s, and boom, out went the lights.
Yeah. Hyro, I want to know from you, Rick, is Eddie Hearn not the lead promoter at Saudi anymore?
No. Frank Warren is. No, everybody knows that.
Yeah. Is there even such a thing as a lead promoter? Because I know that last card they had like 14 promoters. So is there really such a thing as a lead promoter?
Eddie's Frank's group is the organizer. Frank's group is the people putting everything together. They're the lead people.
Okay. Have you done any like business with the Saudis yet, Rick? Because I know they're very prominent.
I did business with the other organization, the skill company that did that. That did 2 shows and stuff, and they haven't done a show since. I guess those other people took over. Who knows?
What happened with them? Like, are they out the business?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't ask if they call me to do business. They call me, but if they don't, who am I to ask?
I got you. I know you expressed it recently on Twitter about you wanting to go to Saudi for a fight. What do you think is like the state of boxing? You know, with the Saudis. Like, do you think?
Well,
like,
so far, I'm going to answer that question for you.
Go ahead.
So far, they've only expressed an interest in that. Obviously, the heavyweight division, 1 cruiserweight bout, and I'm not talking about skilled challenge. I'm talking about these people here.
Turkey.
Okay.
Turkey Al Sheikh.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Right. They've only expressed interest in heavyweights, 1 cruiserweight bout, and 1 light heavyweight bout. They haven't expressed an interest in anything else so far. So we'll see if it's going to be a trickle-down effect of all the other weight classes, or it's just going to be the real big guys of the sport. We'll see. I'm sure if they have the opportunity to do a Canelo fight over there, they do a 68-pound Canelo fight.
Well, now because there's Canelo as well. But then I know Hideki Ohashi has also talked about bringing the Monster over there to Saudi for one of his fights.
We'll see.
Okay, well,
those kind of guys aren't going to want to do business with a guy Heyman who doesn't come over, doesn't participate, and stuff like that. They want action, physical action. Frank Warren's there, Eddie Hearn's there. all that kind of stuff. So that's what they're looking for. Bob Arum was in Japan for Inoue because he's involved. He's co-promoter. So that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a guy to hide under the bed. You know.
No. Okay. I know, like, you did also in a tweet recently say that the state of boxing in America, like you were expressing a concern about the fact that there's not a lot of small shows in Vegas. There's not really much of a small show circuit in the USA anymore. Do you think that could improve, or that will change in the next couple years?
No, no.
No.
I think it's going to get worse. And more fight. We'll be using more fighters that'll be coming in from South America, Central America, Mexico, and more fighters from the Philippines and that kind of thing. I don't think that we're grooming fighters over here anymore. I think that our society has moved past that. I think they play football today. They play basketball. Um, I just think that it's a different era today. People have home businesses today more than ever. There since 1995, when the computer came into effect, the home PC. Okay, 19,000% has gone up of people with home offices, home businesses. 19,000%. Well, that's part of it too.
Yeah.
These kids don't have the drive anymore. They don't want to get hit in the head. There's a million reasons. It's just not what it was in America. It's just around the world it is, because the other countries are more impoverished. Or they look at, or if you got the UK and Ireland, they look at the boxing as noble sportsmen, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
So, and Japan too, by the way.
Of course. Of
Where in the
course.
United States, people look at the fighters, some of the fighters like scoundrels, or like hooligans, or whatever you want to call it, and it's just that's just the way the United States has been. Many fighters have come out of prison, many people came out of prison, become fighters. The most famous one, probably I would say, would be Sonny Liston.
Hmm.
But there's been quite a few. Okay, and basically speaking is that it's our whole society is changing. I mean, if you would have told me, if I would have told you, because you're young, but if I would have told you 40 years ago that NASCAR would be huge today, and it has been for 25 years now, you'd think I was nuts. But it's a changing. Everything is changing. It just is. I mean, soccer. Look how big soccer is today. Look at how big high school lacrosse is up north in New York State and Maryland and Virginia and throughout the Northeast. Lacrosse. It's
Even
huge.
hockey's become more popular in the States over the years
Right,
as well.
right. Now, right, hockey, and it's just everything it's just changing, and that doesn't mean boxing is going to lose its popularity amongst the fans. That just means there'll be less Americans fighting, is what I'm saying.
I
And
got you.
there'll be less club shows to develop those fighters, and they're going to come in from the Philippines, they're going to come in from Central America, South America, Argentinians and Guatemalans, and they're just going to come in, and they come in from the poorer countries, and
I
that's
got
who's
you.
fighting. So it's
So
the way it is.
I have this theory about boxing in Vegas, because, like, Las Vegas is getting all these sports teams now. Now, like, they have the Knights, they have the Raiders. They're gonna get the A's soon. They're trying to get an NBA
Right.
team. Do you think that's playing any role in, like, just
No,
boxing?
no, because it's basically a different demographic. Fight fan's a fight fan. No, they ran club boxing out of Nevada a long time ago when they made it so hard to approve fights that they made the fights too tough to make, and the fighters wanted too much money because they were suspending them too long. If they get knocked out or they get cut, or automatic 30-day suspensions, 90 days, and stuff like that, it just made it too hard. And all the medicals that are required in Nevada too, they just made the cost prohibitive. So they ran it out intentionally. Let's put it that way. And if they didn't, they did a hell of a job of doing something unintentionally. How's that?
Okay, so that'll suffice.
Yeah.
Hiram wants to know from you, Rick, what is the new network that is getting into boxing, Rick? Oh yeah. So
Well, there was a new network getting in boxing, but it's on hold right now because of something that happened with one of their sponsors that they had the money allotted. They chose to go with another programming besides boxing, and they didn't have the budget to start out this year. So the additional budget, I should say, but the budget they're using for other programming with this network.
are you allowed to disclose the network or no? Is that not is that against the
No,
rules?
I signed the non-disclosure agreement.
Okay, fair enough. We will honor your signed NDA,
Yeah,
your executed NDA. But
yeah.
as far as
And if I don't honor it, I'll get executed.
look, come with the machete and just slice you up. So we'll keep it hush. But thank you for answering
Thank
that
you.
question, Rick. As far as that Saudi card, go back to that Saudi card that happened recently. Anthony Joshua, he had a sensational win against Otto Wallin where he looked like the AJ of old. What did you make of that performance, Rick? And they're talking
Well,
about
I put it up on Twitter. I thought Ben Davidson
Mhm.
had a great game plan. I think Ben Davidson is a very underrated trainer
Yeah,
because he started out doing boxercise,
yeah,
and he's
boxer
a friend
size
of
Ben.
Daniel. And he's a friend of Daniel Kinahan. But the guy's smart. The guy had a great game plan. He gave what's his name a lot of confidence, and he went out there and did his thing. And he did not look like a robot. Normally Joshua's been looking like a robot the last few years, and he didn't look like a robot. He actually looked like he was very fluid, and he
Yes.
looked good. I got zero complaints about Joshua how he fought. Obviously, that he won. He looked great. Otto Valine just looked like he was completely out of touch compared to
Oh,
his prior fights, and he looked like a schmear cat. He did not look like the guy he's looked at. But you know what? Joshua took that away from him too. So
yeah.
it went both ways. It was one guy was worse than he normally is, not as good, and the other guy was much better. So it created a mismatch.
No, for sure. And I think he used the best, the most appropriate word for AJ, which was fluid. He did have a lot of fluidity in that fight. The way he was stabbing through the
Right.
body and coming back up
No,
top of the
no,
head.
no, no, no question.
Nobody really knows what AJ is going to do next, but it's expected that when that IBF belt inevitably goes vacant between Fury and Usyk, that
Herkovac. No,
Hergovich, yeah,
well, yeah,
Hergovich.
yeah. Herkovac and Joshua look like they're going to fight.
How you seeing that one? So it's an interesting fight. I feel.
And, and I like Joshua because of the experience in big fights,
Mhm.
and I also like Joshua because he's so big and strong, and he looked good the other day. But if it was the Joshua of the prior fights, in other words, like um, the ones that he's been having that he hasn't looked good, and forget about
Jermaine
Usyk.
Franklin, like Jermaine Franklin.
Right. Not you can't go by Usyk because he's left-handed, and Herkovac is right-handed. But if he looked like those kind of fights, I would say Herkovac would win. But the other day, if Joshua fights like that, I can see him winning.
Yeah,
The IBF title.
it's a real intriguing fight too because I'm pretty high on Hergovich. I think Hergovich won't have his best performance until he has a fight like Joshua because a lot of these guys
Well,
he's been fighting, they don't really get him up.
no, obviously not. Especially not this stiff that he fought the Maury.
Mark Demori, man, Keith Conley, Keith Conley did a masterclass in getting him paid because man, I don't even know how they sanction that one.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we'll see how that one goes, but I know the fine folks at Top Rank they're putting on a really interesting fight between Teofimo Lopez and Jermaine Ortiz. You got any thoughts on that one, Rick?
Well,
TONG.
I think Jermaine Ortiz, because he'll be able to make 140 comfortably. I think it's going to give him an advantage where he can use his legs. And where at 130, I don't think he can use his legs anymore. So I think it's a good move. And I think it's a very good fight. You can't underestimate Jermaine Ortiz. The other guy can punch. He's strong, cock strong, Teofimo. But Jermaine Ortiz is no joke, and it's going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and you also have the storyline because Jermaine's been working with Bill Haney, so some people all the mindset that Jermaine might be being used as like a pawn by Bill and Devin because they're not going to fight
Stop.
Tio.
Stop, 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 stop.
Am I getting carried away or am I getting carried away?
No, anybody who said it's getting carried away.
I got you. Okay. But no, it's a good fight. Good fight for the 40-pound division. And then I know Top Rank, they're saying that Top Rank has supposedly some sort of deal in place where if T.O. beats Jermaine, they're looking at June for Subriel Matias on the Puerto Rican Day weekend. Do you know if there's any truth to that, Rick?
I have not. I've heard that as being official. It's just a rumor, but I don't see it. I don't see that happening.
Okay. Why not?
I just don't. I just don't think it's going to happen. Right? I can't see it why a guy would beat Jermaine Ortiz and then want to run into and then Top Rank want to do the fight. That's a big money fight. I mean, if you can't put it on pay-per-view yet, why do it? You have to pay everybody too much money. It just doesn't make economic sense unless it's going to be pay-per-view. And I can't see those two guys being pay-per-view right now.
Yeah. Okay.
A year from now, after a couple more wins apiece, they could be pay-per-view, but not now.
Okay. One fight that could be pay-per-view is maybe Tio versus Devin. Is that maybe a fight that could happen this calendar year?
But why did Devin do real well on pay-per-view a couple weeks ago?
No, he didn't. But the thing is, Tio and him together, those are two like the bigger names in that weight class. That's one of the fights to make at 140. They're both champions, so you don't think maybe that's a fight that Top Rank puts together?
I could see that fight happening. Or Tio or Haney fighting Garcia more than I can that Sobral who can't sell a ticket.
Okay. Okay. Well, how do you know he can't sell a ticket? I mean, he's Puerto Rican. Like, you don't think the Puerto Ricans will come out for him in New York?
No Puerto Rican has mentioned his name to me. More people talk about Oscar Collazo, who's a 105-pounder.
Yeah, I love
world
Oscar.
Champion.
I love Oscar.
He's great.
Collazo.
He's great.
You think Golden Boy's gonna put the proper marketing dollars behind him? Because I feel like he's the best pound for pound Puerto Rican fighter skill wise.
He's fighting. He's fighting again. He just fought. Now he's fighting again. January 27th. He's gonna probably fight 3 times this year. Now one in the summer and then one in the fall. So I would say they are. I would say there's real effort there.
Yeah, because I was discussing Oscar Collazo with this other channel. This guy from the UK. Punch Perfect Boxing, who knows a lot about the 105-pound division. This British channel, this guy named Punch Perfect Boxing. He's a good kid out there in the UK. He was live earlier with me, and we were talking about Collazo maybe against one of the Japanese fighters like the Shigioka brothers. Do you know anything about them? And if you do, like, what do you think?
There are all those little Japanese fighters are very, very talented, very good, very fast, and great supreme shape. So any of those guys would make a good fight. But Collazo is big, huge for the weight class at 105. He's very fast. He's great on his feet. His ring IQ is off the charts. So
Is he big for 105? Because I was told that when he wanted to go to the Olympics, he was too small to compete in the smallest weight class there was. So is he?
No, he's huge for the weight class. Huge. You should see how big he was next to the guy that when he won the title from Melvin Jerusalem, the guy from the Philippines.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh my God, I was there. He was much bigger. Much bigger. He lifted him off the ground with an uppercut. Matter of fact.
Made him levitate, made him float.
Yep.
Okay. My man Henry Vault wants to know from you, Rick. He says, BT, have you and Rick discussed Oshaki Foster yet? And could you ask Rick on his thoughts on Foster in 2023 and his outlook on Foster this year? Okay.
Foster's an excellent fighter. He can beat all the 30-pounders. I'm very high on the guy. I think he's a cool guy. He did an unbelievable job going to Mexico and was behind in the fight and came back and destroyed Rocky Hernandez, Aguero Rocky Hernandez. Even though he had everything going against him, he rose above it. And now he's got a big fight coming up in New York City on February 16th. And he'll do, he's a real fighter. He's really, really good. I'm very impressed with him. Yeah,
he's taking on Abraham Nova. That'll be a very fun fight. But
he'll beat Nova. He's too sharp for Nova. His ring IQ is too high. He's too smart. He's too fast. Good on his feet. Very nimble. Very agile. And I just think he beats Nova pretty easily.
Yeah. I actually, believe it or not, I had Oshaki as my fighter of the year. I really liked what he did in 2023 because I feel like, all respect to Crawford and Inoue, but they were both, favorites over the guys they beat.
Well,
Uh,
I,
Oshaki,
I have, I get it. No, I get
yeah.
it. But here's the thing: his fights are not high profile enough to consider him for fighter of the year. They're
Well,
just not. You got to take that into consideration. It's a consideration,
I,
definitely.
I get it. I get that aspect of it. But, he did beat, he was in a world title fight. He did headline on Showtime against a 36-0 three-division champion, Ray Vargas,
I
beat
know,
him.
but they're not the size of what Crawford
No, I
fight
know.
spent
I know.
and a new. There's no fighter in the world whose fights are shown in more countries than Inoue. I mean, he's literally shown everywhere. Okay, and there's nothing bigger than that right now besides a Canelo. So just the way it is.
Yeah. But yeah, Oshaki definitely someone to watch at 130 in 2024.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rick, one thing I know I'm gonna get a good reaction when I ask you about this, but since the last time I talked to you, David Benavidez wound up butchering my guy Demetrius Andrade. What did you make of that? And have you changed your stance on Benavidez Canelo? Because I know you were always big on the fact that you think Canelo would beat Benavidez.
I just think Canelo's too seasoned and throws punches underneath, on top, got a real good jab, and the other guy's does not have a high ring IQ. Even though he is a natural fighter, but he does not have a high ring IQ. And to beat Benavidez, to beat Canelo, you have to have a high ring IQ, as Bivol proved to that, and Floyd Mayweather. You have to have a high ring IQ. If you don't, you're fucked.
You're toast.
Yep.
Does that fight, in your estimation, do you think that fight happens this year? Because Canelo,
No, no,
no.
no. Don't see it happening.
So maybe Benavidez finally winds up moving up to light heavyweight. You think?
I don't know. It depends if you can't make the weight. I know he struggles to make 68, so I think 75 would make sense.
Because I just don't feel.
I'll tell you what. I would rather see the winner of Bivol and Callum Smith with David Benavidez than I would watch Canelo and Benavidez. I think it's a better fight. I think Benavidez will be stronger at the weight, and he'll be able to use his legs more. And I think that'll suffice for a lower IQ.
You know what? I like that idea. I've been wanting to see Benavidez move to light heavyweight for like 3 years.
All right.
So
exactly.
We'll see how it goes. You mentioned Beterbiev Evan Smith. A lot of people are really high on Callum Smith. I've seen a lot of people picking Callum Smith to be Beterbiev. I don't quite see it, but
well, the reason why they are is because the other guy's 39 years old in January. He's had a lot of amateur fights. He's got wear and tear. He's had COVID. He's had all kinds of multiple times. He had COVID. Multiple times he's had surgeries. All kinds of stuff's gone wrong with this guy, and he's been very injury prone, and that doesn't bode well when you're fighting a puncher. And a lot of people think he's on old legs, and I'm one of those guys. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think he's what he was. But we'll see. Maybe he comes through like a champ. Who knows?
So
I'll tell you what. His gym stablemate training the same trainer, Maklebev. He didn't look too good, did he?
No, he didn't. But he's not Beterbiev. He's not even close.
No. I know, but he was a total fraud.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I couldn't believe it. He had a G Caballero looking like he was the second coming of Ike Biabucci. He was chopping that body up.
He had him the second coming of fucking Sugar Ray Robinson, for Christ's sake. Oh my god. Oh my god.
He looks so bad against Caballero. I want to see Caballero fight for the winner of Undisputed next. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. But no, I think Callum Smith, I don't know, I just think Beterbiev is gonna be too physically strong for him. I don't see it. I think Beterbiev lives that life of a fighter, and even if he has had his problems, I don't see Callum Smith being the guy.
That's conventional wisdom, and I can see that. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets knocked the fuck out too.
Yeah, he has been dropping me. I remember when Callum Johnson put him out. or put him down
Put
at
him
least.
down. Put him
Yeah,
down. Yeah,
put him
yeah.
down.
That was in round 2, I believe, and then round 4, Callum Johnson was out. So who
Yeah.
knows?
So who knows? Should be a good fight when it does happen, and then
You got 6 more minutes. Come on now.
all right. Bivol has already signed as part of the contract. If Beterbiev beats Smith, then that's the next fight to make. Who are you favoring in that fight?
I like the younger, fresher guy with the better foot speed, and that is Bivol. But I'm not saying that. Listen, Bivol. What's his name? Fakasa. What's his name? The nail there knocked him out. 5 years ago already?
Positive, yep.
He's got such crunching power. He can change things with one punch. So who knows? But I like the guy with the better ring IQ and the better foot movement and stuff, and that's definitely Bivol. But I thought Bivol did not look good in his last fight over in Saudi Arabia. He didn't look good at all.
He has this way about him, Bivol, where I don't think any fighter on the pound for pound list, and I talked about this earlier in my last live earlier today. He has this thing about him where he fights guys that are nobody on the pound for pound list carries average opposition like Bivol. Because it was the same thing with Salamov, it was the same thing with Arthur, and he's had a lot of fights like that in his career.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. The last fight I guess I'll ask you about, Rick, and then we'll get up on out of here is the top ranked card. It's going to be in your neighborhood, your area, I believe, right? To Turning Stone Casino. I don't know how far that is from you, but March 2nd, Raymond Ford, Otabek Komatov, and then Rhea Abe versus Venado Lopez, 2 featherweight title fights. What you making of it?
Well, that's a good, fun night of boxing in Central New York.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. It's big for that casino. Now, if you try to put those fights in a casino like in Vegas or like Madison Square Garden, you're not going to get a lot of people for it. But in Central New York, that's a big deal, and then they'll draw a lot of people for that show. They should draw a lot of people if they market it properly and stuff like that. 2 world title fights in Central New York. When was the last time we had a world title fight in that part of the country? Not in a long, long time that I can remember. I think Mark Too Sharp Johnson, 20 some years ago.
How far is that from you, Verona?
About 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay. Will you be at that fight or no?
Depends. I don't know. It depends if it depends on the weather. It depends if Golden Boy's got a show that same time period. Who knows? Depends on scheduling conflicts.
Okay. Fair enough. This is actually the last thing I'll ask you about because I'm getting badgered about it, but they want to know what are your thoughts on Abdul Wahid?
You mean the name?
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
guess the name.
I just. He branded himself as Javante Tank Davis, and now he comes out with this Abdul Wahid, and that to me is not a good marketing name for marketing purposes when everybody already knows him as the other guy. Now, if nobody knew him as Javante Davis, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But everybody knows him as that. Number one. Number two is that if he joined the Muslim. If he joined the Muslim religion because he's been in trouble and he's trying to find himself, I like the idea. Just like if you told me he was going to get married and she was a good woman and he was going to settle down, I like the idea. But, I don't, he's such a wild man like Broner is. I just don't trust. I don't mean distrust but I don't have confidence in him straightening out and flying straight.
I got you. Okay, we'll definitely see how it all goes for the fighter now known as Abdul Wahid. But Rick, I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna wrap it up. But is there any final message you want to give to the boxing world about just anything you got going on, anything coming to boxing, just anything?
Yeah, if you pass away and you're a bad guy, I'm gonna let everybody know you're a bad guy, whether you're dead or not. If you're a bad guy in real life while you're living, you're a bad guy while you're dead.
And you're going to keep that same energy regardless.
Absolutely. Why not? And if people say, well, it's going to come back tenfold when you die, okay, fine.
You're okay with those consequences. You're okay with that. If people start celebrating when you die.
I am what I am. And I wouldn't change a thing. You know, I mean, listen, would I like to be 6'4" and 240 instead of 5'8.5" and 240? Yeah, but I'm not. You know what I mean? But as far as how I am and stuff, my personality, my disposition, my state of mind, I'm a happy camper. You know, people say I'm a bitter old man and all this kind of bullshit. First of all, I'm not bitter. I'm very happy what I am, who I am, what I do, and there's no bitterness to me whatsoever. So whoever thinks that, they're sick bastards.
Would the word cold blooded be a better word?
Am
Because
I, am I, am I, well, yeah, that's what I was, when I was years ago, that's what people called me, cold blooded. And then I got married and sort of got soft, a little soft, but I still got that edge to me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I am cold blooded. I
like
admit that,
cold
you
blood,
know?
like the old Rick James song.
Yeah. Well, listen, one time a guy died and I didn't like the guy. He says, I said, do me a favor, call around, make sure. I once went to a wake. I once went to a wake. Like a guy was, I hated the guy. I once went to the wake. The guy comes up to me. This guy comes up to me, Lenny. Hey, Rick. Hey, Lenny, how you doing? Rick, I didn't know you were friends with him. But with him, I says I wasn't. I just want to make sure the cockroach is really dead.
Damn, you cold blooded
Yeah.
for real, Rick. You really cold blooded.
Listen. I am what I am. I don't hide it.
No,
I don't hide it.
at least you're authentic and you stay true to yourself. But
Well, I used to go out with this girl years ago, and she used to let to go all these teary-eyed movies, and she goes, "How come you're not crying?" I said, "Because I'm watching you cry. You're doing it all for me."
Or it's like that one story where you said well, I think there was a girl who was like a whore, and you were like, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, she said, "What about my reputation?" I said, "That's why I'm here." So I mean, it just people are, people get a little carried away and all this kind of stuff. Oh, he was a nice guy. No, he wasn't a nice guy. Tell the truth. Shut up, will you? It's so phony, and I just keep it. I just keep it real. People say, "Well, what happens if people talk about you?" I says, "Well, then let them. If it's the truth, so be it." That's all I can say. Just don't make up stories on the internet that I'm 88 years old and all this kind of shit. And I live with my mother in the basement. Well, I'm 88. How do I live with my mother in the basement? My mother hasn't been. If you add 18 years to that, with my mother would be 106. Come on.
And that certainly ain't the case. So
no,
it is what it is. But look, love him or hate him, you're gonna listen to him. Rick Glaser, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye now.